Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by the Adam Meakin, 10th Man, Eli. I assume that's Arwin trying to join during the intro. Let's have a look. It is. We've also got Neil, Chocolate Saying, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Afternoon, everyone.
Morning.
Yo.
Morning.
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 Oh, I was on mute. Hi guys.
Hello, very good to have you on. Good show?
Yeah, pretty rowdy too. But yeah, it was all over the place. A whole bunch of flat earthing and a bunch of spirit talk, and ended up talking about Formula race cars and how they're supposed to have vacuum engines and all that. Just like, but it was interesting.
Very good. Shame, I missed it. I was busy boxing one of my amplifiers, which is, it's not broken, it's just got a fault. But there we go. Such is life.
Propsy did do his own thumbnail, I've noticed. I've not been able to join you today, Alan.
No way. You did your own thumbnail?
Seen it.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
I just uploaded an old picture I used in a presentation 3 years ago.
It's a start. That's a start. You'll get into
It could
the flow
still
of it.
use some editing, Adam.
Yeah, well, send it me and I'll tweak it.
Don't help him out. Just do it yourself. Just acquire that skill. Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping before we
But that is my skill.
before we get too much
making
into
Adam do it.
delegation. Isn't a skill, right? Anybody can delegate. Don't give me that middle management bullshit that you're adding some value by asking someone else to do it.
But some get really good at it.
Yeah, I'm really good at asking people to do stuff too. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
Hell no.
Refracted, right?
Maybe we could find some.
Well, that depends. What day is it? I mean, sometimes it's refracted always, and sometimes it's straight. I don't know. But
Yesterday it was straight, but you're still gonna need R for it.
Well, that's wrong. See, repeating verbatim an anti-flat Earth rhetoric that it's straight because we're just looking at it, and therefore it's straight because I need it to be in this example, doesn't mean that that's how it works on a sphere. Yeah? When they gave us the rebuttal, you can't see the geometric horizon, you would never expect to see it unless you sucked out all of the atmosphere. That is to make the assertion as I described to a virus when they asked me if I'm looking at my cigarettes. I'm like, not on a sphere, you're not. They're not where you think they are if you've looked through a sphere rose-tinted set of glasses. That is to say, when you believe you're on a sphere, nothing is where it's supposed to be. It's always refracted because you're always looking through sphere-shaped air and you've got standard refraction applicable. Therefore, you've never got a straight line to anything ever.
as a matter of fact, you can't measure to an apparent location, especially when they didn't even want to be tied to standard refraction because they said it was intense, extreme, extra super refraction, and therefore you flat earthers needed to actually take temperature measurements from point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, all the way to the position to say, well, that's how much it's refracted. So they stuck that with us. So you'll never be able to get a geometric measurement.
Well, that's part of the bait and switch, because asking us to go and take actual measurements of atmospheric conditions, atmosphere being the assumption of what we're measuring when we do so, doesn't change the fact that when they apply atmospheric refraction, it has absolutely sod all to do with the conditions on the day, and everything to do with an R value that's sticking out like a sore thumb in whatever value they ascribe. Now, 7/6R in standard form doesn't change the fact that they can apply superlooming and then apply a different value based on an R value, because that's how sphere-shaped air refraction, otherwise known as atmospheric refraction, otherwise known as standard refraction, otherwise known as terrestrial refraction, they're all based on R. So it's got sod all to do with the conditions on the day, and everything to do with what they're doing in their maths to make whatever their maths says the world is, that's based on R, match the picture that you're showing them.
I mean, didn't I call it no Atmo day? The day that the geometric horizon might have been measured if it existed, because they told us that you can't. Why would you expect to see it? We have an atmosphere, guys. What's wrong with you?
Therefore, the sextant will never ever work on a sphere. You've never got no Atmo day on a sphere. Always Atmo sphere on a sphere. So never a straight line to use the sextant, ever. Well, sextant works just fine now, doesn't it? When it assumes a flat plane beneath your feet. So it cannot work on a sphere, because atmosphere, no Atmo day, my ass. Just no sphere working sextant ever. How are you going to claim it works when it's specifically using straight lines, something you can't have on a sphere? Because of the atmosphere, right? Refracted, yeah? Yeah, that's going to bite you in the ass when you need a straight line and can't get one. So we say, where'd you get your straight line to use the sextant as it works and is utilised? The answer, we can't. What do you think we can do? Suck out all the atmosphere to make this tool work with our belief? No, you can't, can you? It just doesn't work with your sphere belief.
Not at all.
But when it's this hot,
An entire year of telling us refraction in response to the Black Swan has really come back to bite you guys, huh?
Yeah.
That's why the sextant will lead them back to the Black Swan.
Yeah, you were one of the people that got in touch with me after the fact and were like, awesome. So the loop is complete. Refraction, refraction, don't you know what refraction is? It's refracted, all right. So, you've got this tool here that uses a straight line. Where'd you get it? You just look at it and it's straight. Hold on. No. Refraction. Do you not forget that that's what your claim is? We've heard it so many times. So what are you going to do now, like Virus does? And say, oh no, we just look at it and it's straight. No, you've spent 21 months telling us refraction, clown show.
Can I just read a quick wiki quote in relation to this? It's talking about the sun and its position. On the horizon, refraction is slightly greater than the apparent diameter of the sun. So when the bottom of the sun's disk appears to touch the horizon, the sun's true altitude is negative. If the atmosphere suddenly vanished at this moment, one couldn't see the sun, as it would be entirely below the horizon. That's their claim.
That's due to sphere-shaped air, as described and detailed with the word atmosphere. If there was no sphere-shaped air, then the sun wouldn't even be there. Totally different place. All right, so no straight lines to the horizon then for a sextant to work if we're assuming sphere-shaped air. So what are we going to do, lads, on the anti-flat earth side? You're going to tell us let's just not assume sphere-shaped air when you've spent 21 months solid barking at us? Yeah, that's going to become a big problem now, isn't it? Because how the world actually works is with straight lines, as demonstrated by the sextant. Bit of a bummer if you haven't got any, and you haven't on a globe. Bye-bye, globe. Earth is flat.
Nah, just look at it.
Just look at it and you can see how straight and flat it is to the horizon, tells us, Virus. All right, Virus. Thanks for telling us if we look at the horizon, we know how flat and straight it is. We would agree. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Yeah, that's your argument. Look, it's not a thing looming upwards from behind a presupposed curve and all that whole routine. No, I just look at it, it's there. That's our argument, ballers.
And then he got our argument.
That's accurate.
Some nerve.
But that is our argument. Alwyn's absolutely right. He summarised it beautifully. Because as a sphere-believing muppet who thinks we've got a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, that would be Earth curve for a horizon, you would tell us that if you see a clock that, according to your model, cannot be seen, it's actually a slightly looming, non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock from behind the reified sphere-edge horizon you think is Earth curve. What's my rebuttal to that? I was a flat earther, I'd just say clock. There's a clock. I just see it because it's there. It's not a mirage. It's not refracted. It's not thinking I can see something that isn't really there because of sphere-shaped air, and the only reason it is because a different value that's applicable to an R value in your terrestrial refraction is telling me that I can see something I can't because I believe I've got sphere-shaped air and believe there's a sphere beneath my feet. That's what I would believe if I was on a sphere, though. Slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock from behind Earth curve. Now, as a flat earther, like Virus was telling us about how we use sextants, you just look at the horizon and see it. It's just there. Straight line to it. Flat Earth is what we deal with in reality. Not holograms of clocks from behind Earth curve we can't see that has got bent lines to it and prohibits your use of a sextant. No. We just have a flat Earth beneath our feet. And no. We're not seeing a mirage of a clock. It's just a clock. No explanation is required when you're a flat earther. There's a clock, I can see it. End of explanation. So Occam's razor. Is it a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock from behind the reified sphere-edge horizon that I have decided the horizon is when physical and blocking things that suddenly aren't being blocked so they're projected up as holograms? Or is it just a clock you can see? Because Occam's razor would say, I'm right as a flat earther, it's just a clock. And when you come to use tools that apply themselves to the straight lines that we have on this flat plane, they work. Further to that, they do not work on a sphere.
I'd like to quote Akumu Virus, who is in chat right now, saying, "Your vision is straight, regardless of what light does." Welcome to Flat Earth, Akumu Virus.
Really? Okay, so two things. When I said that's our argument, because of the R in it, and second of all, yeah, Akumu is very, sensitive. It was funny when he said, "Don't welcome me to Flat Earth, Nathan." Don't you do it. Don't do that.
Yeah, he told us that the sextant measures straight lines and angles. So I welcomed him to Flat Earth, and he went, "Don't do it, don't welcome me to Flat Earth." Yeah, well, if it's measuring straight lines, you don't have any on a sphere. So you can't function on a sphere because you've got bent lines to everything. Atmosphere. There's no atmo day, never applicable in your P-shaped brain that has a sphere beneath and a curved Earth beneath it. Well, unfortunately for you lads, the ones on the anti-flat Earth side, the ones that actually hear the argument, you've spent 21 months telling us that everything's refracted. Yeah? And we understand that we'll never get to see a straight line to anything unless we sucked out all the atmosphere. So therefore, you can never use a sextant on a globe unless you suck out all the atmosphere. And yet it works! And how does it work? Well, with straight lines to a flat plane, because that's what we actually have. Shout out to you, Jules Luds. Wow, man, you're super smashing that super chat, Jules. Thank you so much. Share the stream, folks, and challenge all the globers to come and party with your evidence. Yeah, that ain't going to happen, Jules. Thanks for the super chat, and I appreciate the sentiment. 10th Man summarised it yesterday. Their absence is their admission of defeat.
That's correct. But I don't know what he expects. He sounds like a flat earther when he's talking to Kumu Virus, and he just don't realize it.
If I can see the horizon, it's just a straight line to it. Yeah, that's what we say. Yeah, that would be our argument. As opposed to you then later chuckling and going, "Yeah, the light is all bending into my eyes. Ha ha ha, my head hurts."
He's in chat saying we
Well,
just
when
don't
I'm looking at
understand.
my cigarette, it's not. What do you think? It's not where it is when I'm holding my cigarette. No, guys, in your model, it's not where it is. Nothing is
It's
where it is.
Godzilla37 from the super chat, thank you very much indeed, says, welcome to Flat Earth, Akuma Virus. Indeed.
What's he saying in chat, Arwen?
He says we just don't understand.
Aw, how
okay.
sweet.
Poor guy.
Ah, we don't understand how your head hurts. No, your head definitely was hurting. You also told us how we got a straight line to the horizon, we just have to look at it. And you also laughed a lot while you told us that actually, yeah, Craig, fight the flat earth's right. All the light's bending to your eye. Ha 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 ha. Why does my head hurt?
Now he says we just get the globe claims wrong. Apparently, we're wrong about what the globe requires.
Oh, my bad. 21 months of you telling us refraction. I just misheard you.
Gets better every time he says
That's a
something.
damn shame, man. Virus, man, you should be ashamed of your damn self.
No, so did I mishear you when you said refraction? 1,000 times in comments. Did I mishear you? Did you actually mean straight line to the horizon when you were all saying refraction? Oh, my bad. I obviously am slightly deaf. I didn't think you said refraction. I thought you said straight line debunking Earth as a sphere. That's what I thought you said, Virus. Yeah, yeah. That's why we're welcoming you to Flat Earth, because you told us how straight the line to the horizon was, because you can just see it, therefore it's just straight. Yeah, that's our argument. Meanwhile, the guys over at Gem Pandas are very keen to show us Andrew Thomas Young's depictions of how light rays always bend into your eye. No straight line to the horizon ever to acquire unless you're sucked out of the atmosphere. What are you, stupid? Yeah, we are when we come to use a sextant with its straight lines that you can no longer acquire as a result of the black swan. Refraction. Yeah, we love it. We love it. It's just now we've got a tool, that'll be a sextant, to actually remove your heads after 21 months of you barking refraction at us, because suddenly you need to relinquish that refraction pretty quickly, don't you? Or tell us you don't care about it anymore. What's the 21 months all about then? 21 months of telling us refraction because you think it's straight lines to horizons? That's strange. Very confusing. That's why your head hurts. Just in case anybody watching on the anti-flat earth side wonders why they got a headache. That's why. Snowbirds from the chat says, wow, Akumu just dug his grave. No, they all dug their grave when they said refraction. We even told them so. QE laid it out for them. The moment they say refraction, the end of their argument is on the other side of that hill that's refracted to become a non-geometric apparent position where the sky apparently meets the ground. Yeah? The moment they said that word, they lost. But now, suddenly, we go, okay, well, let's have a look at how the world actually functions. Here we are with a measuring tool that takes angles and straight lines along a flat ground that it assumes and describes as an area of equal altitude. How'd you get that on a globe? Refraction! Yeah, how'd you get that on a globe then? Straight lines to everything! Just have to look at it. Yeah, that doesn't work, does it, anymore, fundies?
Kumu Virus is now compartmentalizing it inside his head. He thinks that sight is straight, but light is curved. Overlooking that
hello?
sight is light reaching your eyes, Akumu Virus. It's light reaching your eyes.
Yeah, it's reaching your eyes in a bent way on a sphere, but he needs it to be straight, so he's seeing it both bent and straight at the same time. That's cognitive dissonance. I explained it to you yesterday, Virus. If the light's bending to your eyes, deviating from straight. What's another word for deviating from straight, ladies and gentlemen? Say it with me. Refracted! That means deviated from straight. So the light from the horizon's refracted, deviated from straight. What's that you say? Big problem when you need a straight line, it's just straight, because deviated from straight also means straight? Shout out to Bev Try Thinking with Bendizontal. Yeah, you need straight lines to be bent, don't you? Yeah, we know, it's really quaint.
That's why his head is hurting.
Yeah. Refraction bends light, not your eyesight nor your eye level. Read that up there, Nakuma. Thanks.
Is that a quote?
That's
But
what
the
he just said.
problem
Yeah.
is,
He says
the problem. Hold on. The problem is, Akumu, when you're measuring these angles, right? when you're measuring these angles, obviously you're looking at things, right? So are you looking straight at them, or are those things that you're looking at in positions that you're not looking directly at? I'm so confused.
I'm not. They said it's refracted. Refracted means deviated from straight. So therefore, it's deviated from straight. Now, when we're talking about what this tool uses, it's the horizon. So we're in no uncertain terms about what we're talking about. When we talk about the black swan, we make it absolutely plain. It's in the modus tollens argument. It's about the horizon. What's that, Bendy Crane? Our argument's about the horizon. Do you not remember saying that? What about the modus tollens itself? If the Earth is a sphere radius 3959, then every distance to horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And the distance to horizon is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere radius 3959. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve, and the Earth is not a sphere. Now, I know you all heard it, and I know you all heard the word horizon, and I know you all barked refraction at me. So given that we've got a refracted horizon, and your justification is we can never have a straight line to it unless we remove the assumption of sphere-shaped air, i.e. atmosphere. So if we can never have a straight line to it, you can never utilise a tool that needs straight lines. That would be a sextant. Now that tool that uses straight lines and assumes we've got areas of equal altitude, that would be a flat earth, works. In application, with straight lines and an assumption that the ground is flat for it to work, it must be flat. And it is. And further to that actual use on a flat plane of the sextant, you can't get around it by drawing chords. You can't get around it by increasing and curving radius values. You can't get around it by using the old switcheroo with the section of a circumference when describing the LOP radius that must be flat. None of these things are actually done when you apply this tool to reality. It just takes an angle with a straight line and a 90 degree to wherever the star is above. And that requires the Earth to be flat and makes it an impossibility to perform if all light is curving as it is on a sphere. Remember, lads, on the anti-flat Earth side? Refracted, right? Yeah, we didn't confuse what you tell us when you say the horizon's refracted. You say the horizon is refracted, as it must be with your sphere-shaped air. Just a huge problem should you need a straight line, and you now do.
This is terrible for them.
I was thinking the same thing. This is bad, real bad for them. Great for us, though.
I didn't realise how glorious it was until yesterday, I've got to be honest. Well, I got props from 10th Man after the fact, but until we got into that wrangle-dangle, and the moment it was a straight line assumption from Virus, it's like, bang, Black Swan. It's like, yeah, but the Black Swan, what's he going to say? He's refracted. Where's he going to go? I didn't realise the awesome power of the sextant until you end up in a wrangle-dangle with somebody, and they need a straight line. So you go, Black Swan. And then what are they going to say to that? Yeah, the line to the horizon's the Black Swan straight. No, it's refracted, right? It's the end of the road, globe-believing fundies. You don't even know it.
So now instead of cigarettes, the globe earthers want to come to flat earthers and ask if they can bum a straight line. F out of here.
All those nonsensical statements about why would you even expect to see this geometric horizon? We have an atmosphere, guys.
You know what we call...
Everything's always deviating, always, all the time.
In the UK, we have two names for cigarettes. Yeah. If you're a roll-up smoker, you'll understand this. So a roll-up's a roll-up, and a straight is a cigarette. A normal filter-tipped cigarette is a straight. Yeah? And a fag. But we'll brush over that.
That's oddly contradicting. A straight and a fag at the same time.
I know.
That's correct.
Yeah. So you'll bum a fag and bum.
Fags doesn't mean that here. Fag means cigarette here. Doesn't mean if you ask somebody to bum a fag, it just means you want a cigarette.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't make you a seedy politician. No?
Can you bum a refracted cigarette?
Yeah, bumming a straight.
See it.
How are they gonna pick it up when I put it down? Where are they gonna reach?
What do you mean? It's right there.
That's when standard refraction comes in, right?
We're in the middle of the we were in the middle of the wrangle dangle yesterday when somebody brought up Craig suggesting that he can't see his own hand. Now, I didn't know if it was the case that he is making that argument when that was brought up. Is that the case?
What I saw of it was a clip, and he was talking to Mitchell from Australia, I believe, and he had his hand in front of him on the screen, and he says, "Here's my hand," and something to the effect is, "It's there, but it's not there." And Mitchell busted up laughing.
Wow, he actually said that.
But it's
Yeah,
Craig.
because it's just
hold on.
refracted.
Occasionally, anti-flat earthers will abide by the actual rhetoric of a heliocentric model, an atmosphere sphere-shaped air, producing an effect where nothing is where you think it is.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's what he was saying, and it was right in front of him, right? So, like, imagine going to pick up a set of keys to go to your car with. It's not. You got to aim.
Hold
left
on,
of it.
hold on. I've got to play devil's advocate for Craig now, you bastard. Don't make me do this. No. No. Obviously, it's subject to the rate of distance and all the rest of it that everything else would be applicable in sphere-shaped air. So while it might be off by 1/fraction of 1 millimetre or something, doesn't mean you're going to miss your car keys when you go to pick them up. Based on the assumption, though, it still doesn't alter the fact that if you have sphere-shaped air, that means you're looking through air. In their world, their air is sphere-shaped and is bending the light, refracting the light, making the light deviate from straight at a given rate. Always without exception. So in technical terms, you might think, oh, I can laugh my head off. But if you actually tried to put Craig in a corner, he'd say no, and he'd give the explanation I gave, because I understand fundamentally what they're claiming and how that would necessitate that something that you're looking at 3 inches away from your own nose isn't strictly where you think it is, because technically the air's sphere-shaped, even to a very small degree. Doesn't mean you're going to miss your keys, though. However, that implication leaves you with no straight lines to anything ever. So therefore, a sextant cannot be used on a sphere because you don't have a straight line and it's a tool that measures straight lines. Now, obviously, if you understand how a sextant works and you're a cum virus, you're going to tell us how it works and say, well, you just got to look at the horizon and assume you've got a straight line to it. Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth, Mr. Refracted.
But as a person who wants to defend the anti-flat earthers on this position alone, I would say that my hand is warm-blooded, but the keys are cold on the table, and so that might cause extreme variations. And
The whole cold or hotness of your keys or hand make no difference to terrestrial refraction. That's atmospheric refraction, which is based purely on a derivative of an R value. That is all it is based on. Now, while you can fiddle with the ratio to your heart's content to make your fantasy sphere mathematics match up with a picture that is represented in perspective view with your orthographic Muppet vision that excludes perspective, you can fudge those numbers to show your side of your own head and a curved line meeting the horizon or any target that you're looking at and have it still match up because you've basically uncurved the assumption of a curved Earth beneath you at a given rate that kind of matches with what you see in a perspective view that isn't represented in the maths. But that doesn't change or alter the fact that the heat of your hand has nothing to do with that. Only R has something to do with terrestrial refraction because it's based on R. It's the only constant.
So a sniper, when the sniper is shooting now, they have their phony Coriolis, but now they gotta not aim at the target.
No, they do. They aim, they shoot, they fire, they kill. That's how snipers operate. They don't take into consideration that there is a atmospheric effect bending and lensing and refracting and deviating from straight. The target that they're supposed to be looking at, i.e. at a long distance, it's not really where they think it is. It's just a mirage. No, it's not a mirage. They can look at it, shoot it. So, yeah, fear the sniper. Don't think, oh, well, if he can see me, I'm actually behind Earth curve if I'm beyond 1.2 miles of his observer height when he's looking at me. So I've just got to get beyond that and suddenly I'm a mirage. Yeah, until your head bursts open.
I don't think any baller snipers could hold the job down. They'd be missing all the time.
It's a fantasy. None of this is applied. While it might be a nice idea to think that you've got sphere-shaped air and everything that reaches your eye is bent through that sphere-shaped air, atmosphere, that isn't actually the way the world works. No, yeah, light does deviate from straight to a very tiny margin. It's basically negligible, though. Did Mr. Super
The
Chat.
influence of actual refraction is minute, and it's very rare that it goes beyond that minute influence.
I'd like to have Virus come on the live show and defend his position. If he's willing.
He might join. We'll see. He already had a pasting and a
said he was
hammering over
gonna
this,
join
and
in,
it
yeah.
left him in pain, so I doubt he will. But I'm going to shout out Jules Luds again. I don't know why you're giving me so many super chats, but I'm not going to turn them down, especially as I've got stuff to pay for. So thank you very much indeed for the super chat, first and foremost, Jules Luds, who says, today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. Nikola Tesla. Thank you very much for the super chat. Very pertinent, Jules Luds. Really appreciate your support.
Kumovirus said he was going to join during the after show, so get ready.
Whatever.
Get ready?
For what? He's already told
For
us.
a barbecue.
He's already told us. You draw a straight line out to the horizon. Well, where'd you get it if you've got a sphere belief? The answer is he doesn't. And he laughed about it. Yeah, the light is all bending to my eye. Yeah, on a sphere it is. But you need a straight line to the horizon. It's the end of the globe argument, and it's proof we're on a flat plane. It's as simple as that. There's nowhere to go. We've already had the argument with him.
You know, he admitted yesterday that the radius from a sun's GP, that's 3,000 nautical miles from you, the observer holding the sextant, that radius is straight. He admitted to that. Then how'd you get that? Well, you have to have the circle of equal altitude, and anywhere on the circle, it's the same 3,000 nautical miles. So it doesn't matter where you are on that circle of equal altitude until you take your second sighting and get a second circle where it could cross over two parts of the circle. Now you're either at the top one or the bottom one. But not even on that one, you're still whatever distance away on any part of that circle, which means in navigation, the whole purpose of the circle of equal altitude is that an observer could be anywhere on that circle and the nautical miles do not change, and it's a radius from the GP to you. So he's already admitted that 3,000 miles is flat straight. That's a highway 180. That's highway 180 is that radius. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Right. And I'm happy to linger in this particular position, you know, while it sinks in. Like the black swan, it slowly simmered up to a nice rolling boil. But initially, a lot of people didn't get it. A lot of people came back with a stupid rebuttal, like, at best you've debunked the radius. Like, yeah, that's right. We have. That's a big problem, though, if you've got a radius belief and an assumption of that radius for every single argument that you make, right? If we've broken it, then every argument you make is broken. So, yeah, maybe not be so quick in responding to it. You should have waited and actually fell into the trap we laid. Rather than just flat out giving us the fact that it's debunked the radius, fall into the refraction trap so you can bark refraction at us. Tell us how the horizon's refracted, so then when we ask you about how you get a straight line as defined to the horizon, you tell us that you just assume it's straight and flat. So we can welcome you to Flat Earth.
I mean, where are they? Where are all the guys that told us, guys, we have an atmosphere, therefore we can never measure to the geometric horizon? But where are they now? I don't know. I don't get it. It's very weird.
Nathan, I sent you a few slides today, but go to the last one I just sent you.
Okay, got it.
So here you got two circle of equal altitudes. First GP, second GP, and then you've got two places it can cross. Then when you bring this to your chart, you could see that it's two lines crossing each other for your actual position. And then this is where you get the azimuth part of it and get the bearing to the GP. That's 3,000 miles away or whatever in this case. But you can see on the map and chart, the arc of that circle looks like two straight lines intercepting. This was the Wallabaloo from yesterday. We were talking about the radius of the GP to the observer. That is always straight. We're not talking about bringing a massive circle where every part of it, you're the same distance to the GP and putting it on the chart. Obviously, it's going to look like two lines crossing at that point. So this slide gives a little bit more understanding.
Yeah, we discussed this bait and switch in the pre-show. Very good. Good slides. Yeah, that makes it a lot more... I understood it after your concise explanation in the pre-show, but I'm glad you've done it again for the live audience, because I didn't recognise what was happening when this whole bait and switch between these two curved lines intersecting, looking like on a small piece of map you've got two straight lines. Oh, well, that's nice. Meanwhile, we were describing how you've got a GP from the... a line of position from the GP to this position where you're actually measuring it. And all of that line has to be straight and flat to get 90 degrees up to this star. In other words, from this position, as it's depicted looking down on it in this diagram, down to here is considered straight and true, like a plumb line. Zenith, if you will, for the star. That gives you your GP. Ground position, here, below the star. And then 90 degrees to it is where you're measuring it. And what you're measuring is an angle to it. So you get your angle, and then the rest of it is a straight line to it with 90 degrees to the top of the star where you measured the angle. That gives you your full triangle, right?
Yeah. If you go to the very last slide I just sent you, it shows the basis for the line of position from the celestial observation. So the outer circle is called circle of equal altitude for observed altitude. That's what you actually got with your sextant. The inner circle is circle of equal altitude for computed altitude. That's from your dead reckoning and where you think you are. So once you have where you think you are, and then you match that to your actual observation with the sextant, you are now exactly where you are. And that's where they have you draw that tangent line that creates a 90 to the GP. Now you set course to your azimuth bearing to the GP. The sextant argument is about the star's GP to the observer, not the methodology of site reduction errors and corrections that have to be made, which there are many. And the reason they're made is for the purpose of getting exact bearing and distance. So dip correction, minusing how high above the ocean surface you are with your eyes, that's just so that it can get back to that flat plane so that you're less than a half a mile to a mile away from your target. If you don't do that, you're going to be way off, which means you have to correct the sextant to work on a flat Earth in order to get you to a half a mile from your target. Imagine that, having to treat the sextant that's working on a flat plane for it to work.
The line that 10th is describing from the GP to your measuring position, 10th said that's the most important line. Why? Well, because the line down to that point, this GP position in this diagram, directly above where this is depicted, because it's directly bird's eye view directly overhead, the star is directly above this GP position, right? In other words, if you look at the triangle that's being drawn from this vantage point, you only see one line, because the line to the star essentially has the same exact view as the line along the ground that's straight and flat. Now, the line up, the one that I can't draw with my mouse because it's directly below this GP labelled position, is where the star is. Well, that means that you've got 90 degrees from this position where my mouse is to where you are as an observer. You have a straight, flat line. And it must be. Mathematically, it's going to become the radius of this circle. So therefore, it must be straight. That's what radii are. Straight lines to the center, that's what they are. And that is what is your line to get the angle to the star. For 90 degrees to be applicable to calculate it as a triangle, you've got to have this 90 degrees for this triangulation to work. And you can only have that 90 degrees if Earth is flat.
Well, the 90 degree from each star position must also be parallel. Well, that's basically what we're saying, but in case it's
No,
lost
that's
on
correct.
anyone.
I'll put that up as well. I've got the diagram for that. Carry on, Eli.
Yeah, it's just that all positions that are 90 degrees, they have to be parallel. That's how you get your fix. There's no other way.
Spot on. So every star that's positioned on a flat plane, each has an area of equal altitude around it. Now each line out to the 90 degree position, which must be a flat plane for this to be 90 degrees, has stars above each position. And what Eli's saying is, each of the lines down to the 90 degree box that can move back towards your measuring position, each of these lines down from the star are parallel with one another. Not curving away from each other, parallel. And they must be, because every one of these triangles assumes you've got 90 degrees below the star to your position in every single measurable instance. Therefore, there is tens of thousands of square miles that is flat in every single measurable example. Earth is flat. Just going to do a quick shout out to Jules Luds again. Wow, so much support. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I will say it every single time. I never get bored of it. It scrolled off the screen, so you're going to have to bear with me. Here we go. I support this channel because I believe you and your team are making a positive change in this world. Wow, thank you. Come on, Virus. How does the sextant work on a ball? Question mark. Thank you again for the super chat, Jules Luds. It doesn't. You can't get this 90-degree angle on a curved surface, and as you look out towards the horizon on a ball, it's refracted. Therefore, this line is always bent on a globe, without exception.
Nathan, if you go to the very last slide I just sent you.
Done.
Observed altitude from sextant. If we measure the altitude of the sun at 32 degrees, how far are we from the GP? Well, there's your 90 that they want to avoid, minus your 32, you're 58 degrees. 58 degrees, each degree is 60 nautical miles, or 69 statute miles. So we're going to go with nautical miles. 58 times 60, you're 3,480 nautical miles away from the GP of the sun. Notice the straight lines that are necessary for this. And notice that the observer has a zenith position also drawn.
Can I just interject here, Tent? You know what we was talking pre-show and the switcheroo we were given? This is a great set of numbers you've given here. 32 degrees, 3,480 miles. That's the radius. And it's just to think about the amount of curvature that would be applied over 3,480 miles.
That's exactly what I thought, Adam.
Bending the line.
Yep. That's insane.
Yeah. And ultimately, the maths you cannot perform if you're measuring out two 90-degree positions below the star, if the line between you and it is bent, because it's no longer measurable as a radius for the circle of equal altitude. Circle of equal what now? Equal altitude. A massive area that's all at the same level. Level. That would be flat. So if that line's bent, it's not a radius. This maths can't be done.
Adam, are you working on the math?
Oh, well, not really. I could do it, but that curvature would be just. I will do it in a sec. But that curvature that we just expressed there would be the differential in equal altitudes. So, what was it? 3,480. I'll just do it off.
You're a little bit quiet, Adam. Anyway, you can make yourself a little
Right,
louder.
yeah, sorry, I'll sit up. That's because I was just going to do some numbers. But that number would be the differential in the altitude difference as well, because you're going to calculate the drop based on them, stick it on a ball. Now, if that's got a flat R, which it should have, then the curvature of the Earth will generate an altitude difference. So just give me a sec.
You're right, and I applaud you, and I'm glad you're going to do the maths just to lay it out for its absurdity. But by the same token, I'm not suggesting you brush past my fantastic point. The moment you start calculating that, you are implying that there is a curved line from you to the outside edge of the circle of equal altitude, correct?
Yeah. Nonsense.
No, not correct ever. Can't be done that way. So this is just for while you're doing it. I'm trying to buy you time, Adam. You'd have to reply.
The thing that allows you to be able to just take a degree is the knowledge that that line's flat. It means there are certain knowns within the maths, the trigonometry, that allow you to then calculate the other things with trigonometry. If that line's curved, there's no trigonometry you can do to solve it. You then have to know the distance already to the GP to give the degree angle some significance for you to adjust it to put it on a ball.
Hold on. You have to know the distance. What's the point of doing this again? Isn't it to figure out where you are because you don't know?
Yes.
So you need to know already for it to work on a sphere?
Yeah, because otherwise you wouldn't know. You need to know how far you are away to figure out how much Earth curvature or drop in altitude you need to accommodate for to get your exact thing measurement to calculate where you are.
I see. So on a sphere, you'd need to know precisely where you are on a sphere to know how much drop there is applicable to the GP of the star when deriving a curved radius that won't be able to be used for a circle of equal altitude, or get you a 90 degree to the parallel lines of the stars which are no longer parallel. Wow, this is a total clusterfuck.
Totally.
I've got 2 slides from Mitchell's wonderful presentation of the sextant. You can go to those.
Is the Polaris one the starting slide?
Yes, you can see that he's taken a circle of equal altitude, and Polaris is in the middle to GP, and then 15 degrees from both sides of the circle. So if someone's on the other side and someone's on the opposite side, and that would be an area of 10,370 miles flat. Now, if you go to the next slide, he does a wonderful work here of showing all the navigational stars that are listed in the Nautical Almanac, total of 64, counting the sun, moon, Aries, and the wandering stars. And you could see that if you just do circle of equal altitudes and wherever they cross, you pretty much prove the Earth is flat, with all the GPs having to be straight radiuses.
Every one of these circles depicted has a straight line from the centre, which would be the GP of the star, to whatever area is being measured to give you an angle that must have a vertex and 2 straight lines meeting. Therefore, every circle on this map is flat.
Yeah, if you look at the ship illustration on the right side of this image, you could see how many circles are intersecting. So, you know, they say 3 is really good to get a fix, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think he's got 7 or more. And look at the areas that they cover. All that has to be flat because all that has to have a radius that's a straight. And they admit radius lines don't bend. So it's over for them.
Yeah, it's game over. Give props to Mitchell. Been watching his live streams, and he's out in nature early morning looking at the horizon over a long distance. Obviously, very good backdrop to have for a live stream. But he's got clear audio, and he's got an iPad that he's obviously figured out in advance where he can position it so it's not got any horrible reflections and all the rest of it. And he does good quality, pre-thought out, well-presented presentations live out on location. Broadcast live with proper slide-based... No, it's obviously not got a producer off somewhere in a van cut into a proper slideshow because he's one man. But by the same token, what he's managed to achieve as one man on location, live, I was in awe. I was like, man, I like your style, Mitch. This is cool. Now, don't get me wrong. There's lazy people that have got a computer in front of them that can just, because they're lazy, produce a video and shove an iPad in front of the camera to show what they're showing. That isn't what I'm talking about. It's needs must in this scenario. In order for him to do what he does on his live show, he has to pre-prepare the slides and figure out how he's going to present them on camera. And he's done it in such a manner that you don't see the fact that it's being done on an iPad in front of it. You just see the data that he's presenting with his smooth, dulcet tones presenting it, and the point being made concisely with images to go along with it. But while on location, I mean, that to me is so difficult. I know how hard what he does is, and my hat's off to you, Mitchell from Australia. Is it Mitchell from Australia or is it India? Australia. Mitchell from Australia. Subscribe today. His accent just throws me.
Yeah, I caught his live stream yesterday. It's pretty awesome.
He's good, isn't he? He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is good, man. I mean, I already like him as it is. Like he's just a smart, freaking, like he's going in, and I love it. It's awesome what he's doing. I didn't really. Go ahead.
No, I heard him say that it took him 8 months to do that sextant presentation. So he's a great researcher. Let's not. I mean, the guy does his research before he puts something out. That's why. That's the first official, other than our own team. I mean, Brian's Logic did something, Flatsort did something, but and now I see Mitchell, putting that thing, that presentation together, and I'm watching it and I'm going, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. I mean, he just did so much research before he produced that video. So I can't say enough how well he did his research.
Yeah, I can't give enough props at the moment to Mitchell from Australia. So subscribe today, look him up, you'll find him. Because he's got a distinct name that's nice and clear and laid out without strange capital letters and joined up words that shouldn't be and all that kind of crap. Mitchell from Australia.
Yeah, he doesn't have any of that.
I got your back at him.
Can I also give another shout out to Jaren? Because I caught episode 2 of the NASA Comedy Hour.
Of course you can. Yes, indeed. Jaren's on fire at the moment. Go right ahead.
Oh my God! If you're not watching Jaren's NASA Comedy Hour,
it's hysterical.
It is the funniest. Again, I'll say it like I said last time. I don't know what happened to Jaren. I didn't know he was a comedian, but oh my God, the way he's going over this old NASA footage right now is the most hilarious thing that I've heard in a long time.
I like Jaren's sense of humor. I don't know, about a year or two ago, I noticed he was promoting a really obscure guy that I was subscribed to called Plant-Based Comedian. Now, I've got a pretty obscure sense of humor, and I like that particular guy. And then when I heard Jaren shouting him out, I'm like, obviously we've got similar senses of humor. That's another someone else to go into. You might hesitate to recommend Plant-Based Comedian because he's not for everyone. But, shout out to you, my friend. Either way, Jaren's got a good sense of humor, and I don't know, it just seems like he's had a return to this subject where, I don't know why, it seemed like he drifted away from it for a prolonged period of time. Now he's back with a vengeance, and, delivering your message through humor is the best way to do it. And again, big props.
You don't have Bob breathing down his neck when he's on his own.
It's like the sarcasm.
I trust bloody Neil to ruin everything. Shut up, Neil.
It's like his sarcasm level went through the roof.
Or how about because his channel was always apart from anyone else and he worked really hard on his channel, he was getting copyright struck and he was trying to protect his content. So maybe he's went over TOS, maybe he's trying a different angle, or maybe it's working for him, Neil.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Jules Ludds, another super chat. Thank you so much. Not only is the flat Earth humanity once harnessed free energy from the ether using Tartarian architecture, I believe. Alrighty then. Thank you very much for the super chat.
I want to shout out a line from it, but I don't even want to do it on the live show.
You want to shout out who?
A line from there's something that Jared said last night, but I won't even do it on the live show. It's too funny.
Why not?
All right, so so he said he's watching some old NASA footage, and he's going like somebody's talking about some article that one of the NASA guys wrote, and he's reading it out, and he's just like, look at this, this is ridiculous. Who can write? Who can write like this with NASA's little baby dick in your mouth? I was just like, oh my God, what happened to Jared, man? This is fantastic. And then he was looking at Hubble pictures, and he put on like the clown theme. He's like, yay, look at these. Yo, I mean, it was like 1 a.m, and I was like literally had tears coming down my eyes. Jared was killing me. So shout out to Jared. I'll shut up now.
No, I'm gonna. Okay, high praise, man. It's worthy. You don't have to apologise for giving kudos where it's definitely warranted. And as I said on the last couple of shows, I haven't watched Jaron for ages. I don't know why. Just whatever he was putting out there, I wasn't picking up for whatever reason. Occasionally, I'd tune in. But like you say, suddenly someone returns to form. You're gonna shout them out a lot and say, "I really enjoy it. Go and watch it." That's how stuff gets popular. Because people enjoy it and will word of mouth say, I enjoyed this particular YouTuber. If, like me, I assume that if I've done this, there's other people out there that have done the same, right? So if you're one of the people like me who happen to find yourself watching Jaron less, go and watch him again. If you're not already, realise what's happening. You're going to like it if you like this.
Yeah, I love it.
But I'm back on math.
It's the sarcasm of it, though, right? He's looking at the globe. He's like, "Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's real. Yeah. Oh, yay! Look at it's turning. Yay!"
I can't.
It's so great.
I can't wait for the after show because Akumo just said those circles aren't flat. How do they feel comfortable cherry picking this information? Why do the Globers always project?
Maybe we'll find out in the after show, but with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat. I think actually that just came in. Let's have a look. Indeedy do. So Retro Bill says, Nathan's buggerk is ace. Well, thank you very much indeed, Retro Bill. I appreciate the support and appreciate the super chat. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!